Hi, hello, my name is Dee, Jury, or Diana, whatever you'd like to call me. Today's video is going to be a story time, which honestly, it's my very first story time. I'm kind of scared about it because, well, I'm not scared. It's just that, like, I feel like the people in this story are going to end up finding out that I told this story. So, in a sense, I don't know if it's a good idea, but to me, the story's hilarious. When I first met new people, I always got the, oh, when I first met you, I thought you were kind of mean. When I first met you, you're a little intimidating. When I first met you, you look like the confrontational type. And I'm just like, I either have a resting bee face or a resting sad face. So either or, I promise you I'm friendly. I really promise. I've never been the confrontational type. Honestly, whenever there's like a conflict going on and it's like drama in my life, I honestly let shit slide until I really can't let shit slide anymore. And I guess, I don't know, would you count it as like standing on business? I really don't know. I guess this story time is the first time I ever really stood on business, I think. I don't know. Am I using that in the right context? I'm not down with the times and the stuff that kids say nowadays. I know right now I look a little scary because I have no makeup on, but that will come together because I'm going to do a get ready with me for class because I actually have class in about an hour. So we're going to try to do this as quick as possible. Well, okay, we're going to take our time because my makeup routine doesn't really take that long. At least I don't think. I'm pretty sure if you ask my boyfriend, he'll probably say something different. I guess this started my junior year of high school, and I was really a nobody. Like, my freshman year of high school, I was the unpopular, popular kid. Does that make sense? Like, the people, okay, like me, I wasn't a popular kid. I was not. By any means, I was definitely not a popular kid. But I think because I used to hang out with the popular kids. Well, would they even consider themselves popular? I don't fucking know. But, like, I used to kick it with, like, kids that were well-known in the school, right? Like, they had more friends than I did and all this other stuff, right? I guess I was, like, a drifter and the unpopular popular kid. So, I never really, like, made an attempt to, like, be friendly with everybody at school. Only the people that I, like, really kicked it with. That was about it. Sophomore year, I was a loner. Junior year, I had, like, 3 friends. So, honestly, I was pretty okay with it. And those 3 friends... Well, I exaggerate when I say 3 friends, 3 close friends. But in junior year of high school, I had like a wide variety of groups of friends. I guess I was also, again, a drifter. Like, I went from hanging out with theater kids, I went from hanging out with gamers, like I went all over the place, right? And I never really like had one solid friend group until junior year. I wouldn't necessarily say that I made friends with everybody because I really didn't. I only made friends with people that were entertaining, that were friendly, and that were nice to me. This friend group that I'm going to talk about are like in the story. I am going to refer to them as AMP. When I talk about AMP and the members that are in AMP, I'm not actually talking about the members that are in AMP. Do you get what I mean? I'm talking about the guys that are in my story, not AMP. I'm just using AMP because thinking about it, that friend group acted damn near like AMP before AMP was a thing. So when I talk about like Duke, Agent, or Kai or whatever, I'm not talking about Duke, Agent, and Kai. I'm talking about like the guys that are in my story. Okay. I just want to get that out of the way because I don't want people to think for some reason that I'm actually talking about AMP. I'm talking about the guys that are in my story. I'm just using them as code names because I don't want to use real names, because if I do, then the people that I'm going to be talking about this story, they're going to know a lot quicker that I'm telling this story. So, code names, okay? So, my freshman year of high school, I got to know this kid named Agent. We kind of got close. We like ended up talking for like a month, and then that was it. Nothing ever like really came out of it. And he ended up bringing me around his friends. His friends were, I guess, again, they acted like AMP before AMP was really a thing. I didn't really necessarily want to be a part of the friend group. I think I was just inserted into that friend group because when I used to talk to Agent, and then you know, I ended up being friends with them. So it was like kind of weird. I was only friends with some of them. I wasn't really friends with all of them because there was a lot of guys in the group. And like I said, I was the only girl in that friend group. And like, not to sound weird or anything, but like, I didn't want to be the kind of girl to be like, I only hang out with guys because they cause less drama. No, I actually didn't want to hang out with them at all. I have guy friends, but like, these guys acted like frat boys before they were even in college. So I never really like saw the value of hanging out with them all that much. They were fun to hang out with, but like after a while they just got so fucking like wild and crazy that it like kind of became uncomfortable for me. Does that make sense? I hope that does. So in the friend group, there's this kid named Phantom. I'm laughing because of the code names. There's this kid named Phantom, and we talked for a little bit, but like when I say talked, I'm very loosely like saying that we talked. Like, he always wanted something with me, but I never wanted anything with him because this was my junior year of high school and I was going through a really toxic ass relationship. I think I was like at the end of it. Yeah, I was at the end of it and I was just really going through a hard time because I had just gotten a really fucking toxic ass relationship, and quite frankly, I didn't want business with nobody. I wanted to keep to myself. I was so over it. I was like, it's a whole other story. But basically, I wanted to keep to myself, is what I'm saying. And no matter how many times I told him that, he would just always like persist. And I was like, not that I was turned off by it, but I was just like, okay, I'm gonna keep a mental note of it and I'm gonna keep my distance. I constantly told him, hey, I don't want anything. I want no part in any of this situationship that you have going on here. I just want to be by my lonely right now, and you know, friends is my ultimate goal. This next person that I'm going to talk about, we'll call her April. Drew had this friend named Elf, and she was really big besties with April. And then I got to be besties with Elf, and then Elf introduced me to April, so that's how we know each other. Off the bat, I definitely kept my distance from April because I don't know if anybody else has it, but like, there's just for some reason, whenever I meet new people and I like, an alarm bells start going off in my head or like throughout my body, I'm like, I'm staying the fuck away from you. With April, it was one of those cases. I was like, I'm not gonna stay cool with you. I'm gonna say hi whenever we're passing each other in the hallways, but we're not friends. So fast forward to a little bit like towards, I guess towards like the beginning or like towards the middle of junior year. I know it was still football season, so I don't know where that is. I think it was a little towards like the end of the first semester. But like I said, it wasn't anything like that serious between me and Phantom. Like, I just treated it as like whatever, because honestly, I didn't really give a fuck. As bad as that sounds, I just never wanted to treat it like as if we were a thing, because one, I just never took him serious, and two, I just felt like it wouldn't have gone anywhere. I know that might sound fucked up, but like, honestly, if I've told you multiple times that I don't want to be a thing with you and you're still being persistent, then that's on you, if I'm being honest. Fast forward a little bit, and I guess April passes by me and she's like, oh, do you know Phantom? And I'm like, yeah, I know Phantom. And she's like, oh, well, me and him are dating now. And I'm like, oh, cool, that's sick. What am I supposed to do with that information? I'm glad that you guys are. Okay, cool. Don't really care. From time to time, like, we would like run into each other in the hallways, and we would just make small talk, I guess. At the time, I was best friends with a girl named, let's call her Trash. I'm gonna call her Trash, and that's gonna be another story time for another time, but we're gonna call this bitch Trash. This is gonna be a little side tangent. Listen, if you're like, oh, really, you still have beef with this girl named Trash? Like, be so for real, grow up. I don't give a fuck. The beef will never die. If you come to me and you did some shit to me and now we have beef, I will never forgive you until you talk to me and apologize for the shit that you did, or I beat your ass. Either way that you decide to do it, I'm okay with either option. And if you think otherwise, then okay, I'm glad. You're more mature than I am. But until I beat your ass or I get an apology, the beef will never die. We're at a football game, and I honestly forget who I was sitting with at the football game. I only remember this interaction because it pertains to the story. Trash calls me, and she's like, hey, I passed by the snack stand at the football game, and Phantom is there with April, and he asked for you, and he wants you to come down and say hi, because he has his dog with him. I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. Went over to him, right? I was like, oh, hey, what's up? I was like, hey, what's up? quick side hug. Hey, April, how are you? You know? That was the whole interaction in my eyes. That's how I saw it. I saw it as like a quick interaction of saying, hey, what's up? So while I'm saying hi, I see not like really walk away, but she's like at a like seeable distance. She just walks away for whatever, and she starts like going on the phone, and I'm assuming like she's probably talking to like her mom or something like that, right? Eventually I'm done like chatting with Phantom and whatnot, and I get a phone call from Trash. Keep in mind, we're all at the football game. If I'm pretty sure y'all have been to like a high school football game, the fucking football field is huge, so there's a different places that I have to go to, right? I get a phone call from Trash, and Trash is like, hey, come over to where I'm sitting at. I need to tell you something. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Sick. All right, what do you need to tell me? I go over to her. She was like, you didn't hear this from me, but while you were with Phantom, April calls me. And I was like, okay. And she goes, April calls me and she says, yeah, Trash, I need you to come over here because these bitches are hugging up all on my man and I don't like it. I don't know who bitches are, but that certainly ain't me. So I don't know who the fuck you were talking about. Do y'all think she's talking about me? No, exactly. So like, I don't know who you're calling bitches, but that certainly ain't me. And in my head, I was like, it didn't go over my head. I kept it in mind, but I was like, who is she talking about? Because I know she ain't talking about me. I then, after that, just began keeping my distance. I was like, yeah, no, April's weird. Those alarm bells that I had in my head when I first met her, they were right. I'm keeping my fucking distance. I'm working a shift. My first ever job was at a Halloween store. And it was the only Halloween store that was like nearby my school and where everybody lived at. So unfortunately, I had to see some faces that I didn't really fuck with. And April was one of them. So I'm working a shift from like 4 to 8 or some shit like that, right? And as I'm working the shift, who do I see come in? April. And honestly, I tried avoiding her as much as possible because, like I said, after that interaction, I don't know, I wanted nothing to do with her. So eventually, I couldn't avoid her for that long. So she ends up coming towards me, and she's like, "Hey, how are you? How's life? Blah blah blah." And in my head, I already knew this interaction was fake as fuck because after what Trash had told me, I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not gonna tell you everything that's going on in my life right now. I'm just gonna keep it short and that's about it." So I'm just telling her like, yeah, I've been good, you know, that's it. And she's like, oh yeah, me and Phantom been good, like haha, like, you know, whatever. And then she mentions Duke, which is another friend in the AMP friend group, like I said, code names. And she's like, oh yeah, Duke is having a party. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I wasn't invited, so I'm not about to invite myself. And she was like, yeah, you should go. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I wasn't invited. I didn't really know about it until you told me. So I'm not gonna go, you know? Like, if you, side note, you're in a friend group and those friends make plans without you and they don't invite you, don't invite yourself. Fast forward to like, I want to say probably like 2 weeks later, I'm working the shift, same time, 4 to 8. Phantom actually texts me and he's like, hey, we need to go into the Halloween store. Is it okay? Like, are you working right now? And I'm like, yeah, I'm working. He's like, okay, cool. We're gonna come through. He comes in with some of the friends from AMP and they're all just buying stuff for, you know, whatever. And then he was like, oh, like, check us out at the cash register. I was like, okay, fine. I go to check them out. Phantom is talking to me on the side, and he's like, oh yeah, I just wanted to let you know that me and April broke up. And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck that got to do with me? So he's telling me about, like, how they were having problems and all this other stuff. And in my head, I'm just like, this doesn't really concern me, but I guess I'll let Trash know about this later of why they broke up. And then, like fucking clockwork, Trash texts me and she's like, hey, Phantom and April broke up. And I'm like, okay, cool that I know, but I really don't give a fuck. And he's like, hey, we're having a party, like, you should come through. And I was like, when is this party? And he was like, it's tonight, like, come after work. And I was like, it's after fucking work. Why am I gonna go to a party after work if we're being realistic? Like, that is doing the most in my eyes. But I was like, I don't know. I'll see. Like, I'm not really feeling it. Because again, around that time I was going through like a really major breakup and the guy was toxic and I just wanted to be left alone. And he was like, nah, come through. And then the guy that was like hosting the party, Duke, he's like, yeah, come through, fuck it. Basically, like some of the friends from AMP are like trying to get me to go to this fucking party. And I'm like, fuck bro, like I really don't want to go. I'm just trying to finish my fucking shift and go home. I was like, okay, fine, fuck it, I'll go, but I'm probably only gonna go for a little bit. And they're like, fine, that's cool, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. From that shift, my dad picks me up. And it's kind of funny because now I'm realizing that my dad watches all my videos. So, Dad, thank you so much for being so supportive. I'm sorry you have to listen to this. Anyways, I'm pretty sure he's gonna remember what I'm talking about. And he's like, hey, you know, we're gonna go home, have dinner, like, what do you want to eat? And I was like, hey, you know, if you say no, it's okay, like, I really don't mind. And I was like, my friend's inviting me to a party, I really don't want to go. I just, you know, like, I really don't want to go. I'm probably only gonna be there for like 10 minutes and then like leave. Like, can I go to this party for 10 minutes and then after those 10 minutes can you pick me up? And my dad, like, before we even left the parking lot, he looks at me and he's like, this is your first high school party, like, ever. And you want to go there for, like, 10 minutes? What's wrong with that? And he's like, what are you going to do at this party? And I'm like, I don't know, just sit there, talk for 10 minutes, and then go. He's like, this is your first high school party. And I'm like, yes, I am aware. And he's like, you're just gonna go for 10 minutes. That was the conversation. We were just going in circles and I was like, what is so hard to fathom about this? He was like, no, stay there for like 30 minutes. Just to give you a little side note, where this party was at was literally a 5-minute drive from my house. So if I wanted to walk from the party to my house, I really could have, but it was nighttime, so like it's kind of a little sketchy, but it wasn't that far of a drive from this party. My dad really couldn't fathom the fact that like I wanted to be there for only 10 minutes. And he's like, look, why, like, what are you really gonna do? Like, are you just there to see somebody? And I'm like, no, I'm not there to see anybody. Like, if I would rather prefer that you said no. And he's like, no, I think you should go. And I'm like, no, I kind of don't want to though. And he's like, listen, this is your first ever high school party. I'll drop you off. I'll be on standby. You could call me whenever you want to leave. And I was like, okay, fine, that's fine. So we pull up to the apartment complex. First I text Duke, because he's the host of the party. And then I text Phantom. And then they both come outside. And then they meet me outside. And then I wave goodbye to my dad, which is kind of weird because the entire time he was questioning me. He was like, what are you gonna do? Who are you meeting? Like, why do you only want to go there for 10 minutes? I'm like, Dad, I don't even want to go there at all. Like, I would rather if you had just said no and we'd be on our merry way to the fucking house. Bro could not fathom the fact that I wanted to go to this first ever high school party of mine for only 10 minutes. So, Dad, I don't know what you were doing at high school parties when you were my age during this story, but like, I'm not doing what you're doing. As I'm walking into this party, through the sliding door is open. I walk in and like Phantom and Duke clear out, and the first person I see that's outside in the backyard is April, which I was like, okay. And then I walked to wherever Phantom was. And I was like, oh, I thought you and like April broke up. And he was like, yeah, we did. And I was like, she still showed up? And he was like, yeah, she still showed up at the party. I really don't know why, but she's here with her friends, I guess. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And that was the whole interaction that we had. That was it. So the entire time that I was at that party, I literally sat the fuck down on a couch and drank Dr. Pepper. It was one couch up against the wall and then another couch up against another wall. I was sitting next to Phantom. Phantom was sitting next to Agent. Duke was sitting on the other couch, and then like Kai and a bunch of other people, right? When I tell you that's all I did, that's all I fucking did. I was there for longer than I wanted to be. I think I was there for like 25 minutes, maybe 30. And then once I told them that I was leaving, Agent, Phantom, and Duke, they had walked me out of the house. And then I said bye to them. And that was that. That was the whole party. That was on Friday night. We'll skip Saturday. skip Sunday, let's go to Monday. I have class with Trash on Monday at like, I think like 5th period or 4th period or something like that, right? And she's like, hey, so how was the party? And I was like, it was cool. I was only there for like 30 minutes. I didn't really do much. I didn't really care to be there. And I told her why, and I was like, yeah, I'm really going through it. I just don't really feel like interacting with people as much as I used to. And she's like, so what'd you do at the party? And I'm like, I just told you. She was like, that's it? And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Why? And she was like, well, April's going around telling everybody that you fucked Phantom at the party. And I was like, excuse me? Who? She was like, you. And I'm like, me? When the fuck did I do that? Yeah, she's going around telling everybody that you fucked Phantom at the party. And I'm like, and I was like, well, did she tell you? And she was like, yeah, she told me. And I was like, well, what did she tell you? And she was like, well, she told me that you and Phantom went into Duke's bathroom and you guys fucked there. I never even went to the bathroom. If you ask me what Duke's bathroom looks like, I couldn't fucking tell you. I never got up from that couch. The only time I ever got up from that couch is to leave the fucking party. I never did anything like that. And I was like, the entire time I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'll put up the TikTok right now because I think it's really funny. But like, when the rumor just doesn't add up to like who you are as a person, it's just like, how do I even defend this? Like, this rumor is so fucking bogus that I don't even know how to defend it.
Jesus Christ. I don't even know how to, nigga, what?
So before I even texted Phantom, I texted Agent. And I asked Agent, I'm like, hey, if you don't know, that's fine, but like, has April told you anything? Like, is she going around telling people that I slept with Phantom at the party? And he was like, yeah, she told me that. And I was like, what did she tell you? And Agent texts me back and says, oh yeah, she told me that you slept with Phantom at Duke's party. And I was like, what did she tell you? And he was like, well, she told me that you and Phantom went into Duke's room and you guys did it on Duke's bed. And I was like, no, that's not true, right? And he was like, yeah, I was confused as to why she was telling me this story because I was with you the entire time that we were at the party and you didn't even fucking move from the couch. So I don't know who she was talking about. So I asked her, who are you talking about? And she goes, Diana. I'm talking about Diana, you know, the one that's like really good friends with Phantom. Like, she had sex with Phantom at Duke's party. And Agent was like, when was this? I'm losing my fucking mind. I'm like, dude, I'm living in banana la la land. Like, where is this rumor coming from? Like, why is she making this shit up? Especially around to people that were with me the entire fucking time. I lost it. I was losing my mind. Clearly, I'm not stupid. Even though I act like it, I'm not. I know that AMP has a group chat. So I told him, I was like, Agent, add me to this group chat real quick. I just want to see who's been telling, like, I just want to see who's been told this story. I get added to the group chat and I start texting, and it's kind of funny because I didn't even think about texting Phantom. I just texted everybody in the group chat and I start texting. I'm like, hey, like, don't think you're a fucking snitch. I just want to know what the fuck is going on. I won't even drop your name. I just want to know who has been told this story. Who's been told this lie? Raise your hand. Everybody, show of hands. Who's been lied to? Agent ends up telling his story again. Duke starts telling his story. And I'm like, oh, so you've been told this story. He's like, yeah, fucking apparently this happened and I had no idea. So Duke says, he types in the group chat and he says, April told me that you and Phantom went into my room. You guys knew that she was outside, so you opened up the window to my room so that everybody could hear you two fucking. I'm getting all these messages at lunch and they're responding hella quick and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Maybe I have time to go confront this bitch right now. In my head, I was more concerned at the fact that like Duke had believed it. Because one, that's grimy. Two, that's disrespectful, and 3, it's grimy. Why would I go ahead and do that? Like, that is at a party where everybody is like, everybody knows that you're in the room, you know what I mean? Like, that is so, what the fuck? So I told him, I was like, I really hope you don't believe this. And he was like, no, what the fuck? I don't believe that. Like, that's like, you were on the couch the entire time. I don't even think you went up to go to the bathroom. And then like, after we walked you out, you literally apologized for only being there for 30 minutes. So I don't believe that at all. I was like, okay, cool, thank God. Then Kai gets in the chat and Kai starts telling his story, and the story is that he was told was that me and Phantom went into the bathroom. We knew she was outside, so we opened up the window and then did it again so that she could hear. And I was like, okay, the bitch can't get her story straight. Were we in the bathroom or were we in the room? And then on top of that, like, did we open up the window or did we not? Like, be for real. Be so fucking for real. So I was like, I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna screenshot these. I'm gonna cross out your names. So I told them what I was gonna do, and they're like, yeah, it's fine, go for it, fuck her. Like, she fucking, you know, she made her bed, go lie in it, basically, is how they were treating it. And I was like, okay, cool. I tell Trash all the information that I got. I told her that everything that I got from AMP, they told me all these different stories, right? And she was like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, girl, I don't fucking know. I haven't seen April all day today at school, so I don't fucking know. And she was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know, just let me know what you end up doing. I only had 6 periods. I don't know if this is like nationwide, but in California, or I guess it depends on districts, but like my school had 7 periods. I only had 6. So at like 2 p.m. like I left school while everybody else left at 3, right? So my last period was a TA position, so it wasn't really like, it was damn near a free period. The teacher that I had there, she never really needed much assistance with teaching. So, and on top of that, it was a weight room. So the PE teacher never really needed me, so I never really did much. I get a text from Trash and she was like, hey, I just saw April. She's gonna be in my homeroom. Slide through. Basically, April and Trash's 7th period was homeroom, so they didn't have anything to do. Well, I mean, technically it was there so that you could get homework done, but they weren't gonna do shit. And that class only had like 10, 15 people. It was a very small class, right? I finished my class and then I dart over to where April's class is, because like I said, she's sharing it with Trash. And Trash, she's like, hey, come in. Thankfully, there was a substitute working that class that day because I guess the main teacher had left or something like that, right? So Trash lets me in, and the second I go in, the substitute was like, I'm sorry, are you late? Who are you? And I'm like, oh, I already finished class. I only have 6 periods. My friend needs help with a project that we're working on for English. Is it okay if I'm here? It's okay, right? And the substitute was like, okay, well, just stay quiet, you know, don't cause a distraction. If you guys are just quiet, I'll let it slide. And I was like, oh, trust me, I'm not gonna do that. I'm definitely gonna do that, but you don't need to know that, you know what I mean? It's okay. The desks were in rows, so for now I'm just gonna count 3 rows. The first row, Trash was sitting in. So I go over to Trash and I'm like, where does April sit? And she's like, she sits in that one, and it's the 3rd row. In the middle, there's an empty seat right next to April's seat, and I'm like, perfect. I don't know how I'm gonna go about this, but we're just gonna improv this, the standing on business, really. We're just gonna see what comes up, and maybe if shit goes down, shit goes down. The door, let's say the door was where my bed is at, basically, right? So I had my back to where April's seat was at, and I was talking to Trash. So when you walk through the door, you're not gonna see who I am. All you just see is the back of my head. So you really have no fucking clue who the fuck I am. And I'm sitting there talking to Trash, and I hear the door swing open. And then Trash looks at the door, she looks at me, and I was like, I'm mouthing, I was like, and she's like, and I hear her start talking. I just hear her chattering, just fucking yapping. And then I hear her come over, sit next to me. Again, she still has no fucking clue it's me. Like a fucking DC Marvel supervillain, I turn around and I'm like, yes, April, how are we? I turn over to her and I look at her. Hey, what's up, April? And she looks at me and she just looks back down at her desk, and she's just pretending to write whatever the fuck she's writing for whatever fucking assignment. And she's like, hey, Diana, what's up? And I'm like, hey, what's up with you? How have you been? And then she's like, good, yeah, I'm good. And I'm like, oh, like, that's really good to hear. I have to ask you something though. And she was like, the entire time this bitch is like shaking in her fucking desk, like pretending to write whatever fucking assignment she was working on. Like, she is terrified. And low-key, now that I'm looking back on it, I'm kind of sad. Like, I wanted this to be a normal like confrontation, but I think because she was already scared and I was coming off as like that quiet crazy girl, I think that scared her even more. As she's not even looking at me, immediately off the bat, I was like, so what's up with all these stories that you're telling? And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, you have no idea what I'm talking about? You really have no idea what I'm talking about? I grabbed my phone, I flipped through the screenshots that I had, and I slapped my phone down on her desk, and I was like, what's this? And then I start reading all the fucking stories, and I'm like, but this doesn't make sense. But then you tell this story. It's just not adding up. So what story are you telling? And she's like, I have no idea. She's just hella quiet. Keep in mind, I'm getting heated, and now I'm getting louder. Like, the thing is with me is that whenever I get heated or get excited, my voice just goes up a lot higher. And it's not my fault, but also it kind of is. So like, I don't know when to control it unless someone is telling me, hey, you're being a little too loud, right? I start getting hella heated, and I'm like, oh yeah, well then why are you telling Duke this? Why are you telling Agent this? Why are you telling Kai this? So you're going around telling stories that aren't even true. You can't even keep up with your own fucking story. After I said that, the substitute is like, ladies, what are we talking about over here? I don't hear the fucking teacher, but apparently that's what she says. I don't fucking know. Like, I'm more focused on this, so I had no idea the teacher was listening to the entire thing. I also forgot to mention that there's a bunch of other students listening to this, and I'm like, this is kind of awkward, but like, I didn't realize that till afterwards. Like, if I could have avoided it, I would have. Like, I don't really like confrontation, but if I need to take it there, I'll take it there. And all I just wanted to ask was, why are you going around telling that? That's it. All I wanted was a fucking explanation, and that's about it. She never gave that to me. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? Because like, I don't want to bop this girl over the fucking head over just some stories. Like, she's not like, you know what I mean? Like, that's so unnecessary. So I get up, she flinches. As I'm leaving, I'm looking at her, and I was like, next time I hear you talking shit about me, I'm gonna smack the fuck out you. And then the teacher clearly hears all of that, and she's like, ladies, I need you to calm down. You get out of the class. Like, you have no reason to be here, blah, blah, blah. And the entire time, again, I'm not even listening to the fucking teacher. I'm focused on April. She's not even looking at me. Again, quivering in her fucking seat, just sitting there. And then I walk out, and that was that, right? As I'm walking home, Trash calls me, and she's like, hey, I'm in the bathroom, but the second you left, April just started yelling at me. And I was like, what did she say? And she said that April said, the second I left, she starts saying, why did you bring Diana here? You know I don't like her. You know I don't fuck with her. Like, I just really don't like her. Why did you bring her here when you know that I'm here? Like, you're really fucked up for that. Why did you do that? And I'm like, oh, so the second I leave the room, you start running your mouth as if you're about to do something. But when I'm here, you're over here like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, bro, make it make sense. So what the fuck are you doing? So like, for about a week, I just don't see April at school. And I'm kind of like, okay, whatever. Don't really care about it. The beef is old now. I was like, it happened like a week ago, whatever. 2 weeks goes by. And then like in the middle of the third week, I'm sitting next to Trash in English, and I'm like, have you seen April? And she was like, yeah, she has lunch in one of the classrooms now. She's too scared to go out to lunch now. And I was like, for what? And she was like, oh, because she thinks that you're going to beat her ass. And I was like, why? And she was like, well, maybe because of the interaction that you guys had. Somebody told her that you're waiting for her to slip up so you could beat her ass in the bathroom or at lunch. And I was like, who told her that? She was like, I don't know. She told me that, and she just doesn't come out at lunch. And I was like, oh, well, okay. Well, there's that, I guess. And then for the rest of the school year, I never saw her. I don't even know if she still went to the school, if I'm being honest. There's my story time. This is my first time ever standing on business, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed that story time. Hopefully it was like, it made sense, because the way that I was telling it is the way that I tell everybody whenever they ask what happened. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that story time. Let me know if you guys want more story times. And of course my camera dies as I'm doing that outro. All the things that I used for makeup, I'll list them down below as well if you guys want to know what I used. Thank you to everybody that stopped by and watched today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. So yeah, I have nothing else of importance to add. So yeah, now with peace and love, please kindly go away. You know.
That's like just like a tango, you gotta move that, don't break an ankle. Tell me if you see me from your angle, I'll be your genie, you be my angel, okay. High low, can't go to 500,000 records sold. Soon as all the cash hit the flow, cash them all down back to blow. Rockin' body, girl, back and forth. It's a personal party, yo, at the phone. 100 girls in the lobby after the show that our body, and after the show.